Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So just going to give you some latest news regarding Anthony Martial, and it is actually now some negative news. It has been confirmed that Anthony Martial will not be playing this evening against Tottenham because he's struggling to overcome a muscular problem that he initially sustained in the 2-2 draw with Aston Villa at the weekend. He had to be substituted in the 82nd minute. So that's obviously very bad news. Martial obviously was initially out with a hamstring problem for a couple of months. So obviously he is going to be a big miss this evening because we are all aware that he does add inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. Martial in total has made 186 appearances for Man United. He has scored 53 goals. He did initially confirm at the start of this season that Anthony Martial had been given that number 9 shirt, and like I did say, Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position, even though he does predominantly play out wide. Martial is now into his 5th season at the football club. And I think analysing the vast majority of his Man United career so far, he has been mainly consistent. He's had some bad spells and that, but I think in the games he has played in this season, mainly he's replicating what he did in his first season, because obviously we got Martial at just the age of 19, was it? He's now 23. But yeah, so we did initially pay, was it £36 million for Martial, but it could potentially rise up to around £57 million, based on goals and achievements. And, Martial, does help the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford. But yeah, he will be not playing this evening. But, we have still got quite a few injuries, we've still got quite a few injuries. Obviously, reflecting on the amount of injuries we've had this season anyway, Solskjaer has had to make alterations in his squad. But the good news is, players are actually now recovering from injury. Obviously, the positive is that McTominay is expected to play this evening. I don't think it's 100% assured that he will play, but I presume he should be playing. Obviously, Solskjaer did say, this was prior to the Aston Villa game, that he was hopeful that McTominay was going to be available for Sunday, but wasn't. He did say that obviously, he returned back home. Obviously, McTominay's had the same injury as Paul Pogba, because obviously McTominay's been out with an ankle injury. Paul Pogba's obviously got an ongoing ankle injury. McTominay, due to his ankle injury, has missed the last 3 games. You can say he has been a big miss in that midfield, because analysing his performances this season, he's done really well. McTominay, he's been revelation. I don't know if he's a long-term solution for Man United, but I've been very impressed with him. And obviously, due to McTominay's absentee and that, we've had to go over midfield and Fred and Andres Pereira. And obviously, we do know that, they haven't been complementing each other well, and it hasn't, looked really good. And a lot of Manchester United fans now do feel anywhere that Andres Pereira's finished at the football club, because I've been analysing the vast majority of his performances this season. He has been mainly inconsistent, but it will be good to see him at Tomway back. Matic, I think he could be playing this evening. He's obviously been back in training anyways. Matic, he's obviously been out with a minor problem. Matic obviously isn't actually first choice. That's comparison to last season, because last season actually Nemanja Matic was first choice, but due to his inconsistency, he's been initially dropped from the squad. And as I said, regarding Paul Pogba, well, Solskjaer did initially confirm in his press conference anywhere that Paul Pogba will not be playing this evening. So I think, Paul Pogba, should have regained full fitness, for the game against Man City the weekend. There was a lot of reports emerging out, at the weekend and last week, and that, saying that, Paul Pogba, could be back for the Tottenham game, to obviously, have that reunion with Jose Mourinho. But obviously now he's not going to get that reunion with Jose Mourinho, which is a disappointment. He did say the other week as well that Paul Pogba was refusing to play for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was refusing to play for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because obviously he still wants him out of the football club, and I still believe he's orchestrating on making a move to Real Madrid in January, but he's got the same preference as what he had during for the entirety of the summer, because he obviously wanted to make a move to Real Madrid for the entirety of the summer transfer window. But he's definitely nowhere going to leave next year. He's Pogba. Definitely in that. But some reports were saying that he was faking his injury, to force a transfer away from Man United to Real Madrid. But I've got to say, in some games, I think Fred has fulfilled Paul Pogba's position well. I've got element of concerns about Fred, and I think, a lot of Manchester United fans have. I don't know if he's the long-term solution for the club. I will agree on one aspect that definitely where we overpaid for him. We paid £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. But my overarching view on it, I think maybe we should still, give Fred a bit more time at the football club. Because obviously back under the Jose Mourinho era, Fred never really got given his opportunities. But, Paul probably, does make a difference in that midfield. And I know since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016, Paul Pogba has been mainly inconsistent in comparison to his time in Turin, because he did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, but hasn't really replicated this at Man United. Of course, again, we overpaid for Pogba. We paid £89 million for him. He is our most expensive signing. He's on a substantial amount at the club as well. He's on around 290 grand a week on his current contract, and he's still got 2 years left on his current contract with an option to extend it by a further year. I think the only way we can convince Paul Pogba to stay is if we give him a massive increase in his wages. I think we're probably more than need to double his wages, to convince him to stay at the football club. But yeah, he revealed at the beginning of the summer anyway that he wanted to leave Manchester United, and he did say obviously he was seeking for a new challenge. But even if Paul Pogba was to stay, regardless of what happens, we still need to address our midfield anyway. We need an attacking midfielder. We also need a defensive midfielder. But next year, it's very imperative, that we do address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need a couple of attackers. We need someone to come in who can, assure us goals. Someone who obviously, can create chances. Because we've looked very exposed in that attacking line following the dismissals of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. But yeah, we need to definitely recruit a replacement for them. But, that's been an element of concern this season. We have been struggling to create chances in a lot of our games. We also need a right winner. But the two main priority areas is that midfield and, of course, that attacking line, and possibly other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed. We've obviously got other players injured, but, obviously, they're trying to regain full fitness. Bay's still out with a knee injury. Fossil Mensu's still out with a knee injury. Diego Dalot, of course, is still, I think he's out with a leg injury. But it has confirmed, they are all back in training, which is very good news. Rojo's out with a muscle injury. I think he initially sustained that injury during the international break. But yeah, Man United Tottenham, this is going to be a big game, tonight. And, it's a 7:30 kickoff. And obviously, it's a game that we must win. We have to beat Tottenham and Man City. They're our next 2 games. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, managerial tenure, is to be saved at the football club. And, Solskjaer is obviously, aware of, the pressure, that he's under. Despite that, he's come out recently and he still does not, fear the sack. But he's allegedly told our players if we do lose tonight and we lose on Saturday to Man City, that he will be sacked by the football club. We've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for, around 30 years. We are winless in our last 3 games, and that's a shame, to be quite honest with you, because we momentum seemed to be building before the international break, and we seem to regain some form because we've won 5 of our last 6 games before the international break. But I think if we've got any chances of beating Tottenham tonight, we've got to put a performance out. And the performance has got to be totally comparison to what we saw against Villa at the weekend, what we saw against Astana, and what we saw against Sheffield United, because I thought we was poor for 80 minutes against Sheffield United. You can say we had a good 10-minute spell against Sheffield United. Obviously we scored 3 times in the space of 7 minutes. We was on course for our first win of the season from losing our position, but didn't happen. I thought we had a good first 10 minutes against FC Astana, but prior to that again, I thought we was really, really poor. Obviously, Solskjaer went with all the young ones in that game mainly. Obviously recommended 14 teenagers to Kazakhstan. But obviously named a young squad because Solskjaer obviously knew it was a meaningless game. We're already in to the knockout stages of the Europa League. And I did say, didn't I? I think that's our only route to Champions League football for next season is progressing in the Europa League, because I'm very sceptical, that we're going to get that top 4 this season. But Solskjaer did hand 7 debuts out against FC Astana. We've still got one game remaining in the Europa League. And I don't think we was good at all against Aston Villa. I think we definitely rode our luck. So we've got to put a performance out this evening. And like I did say, Tottenham have rejuvenated themselves. Jose Mourinho has enjoyed a fantastic start to his managerial career with Tottenham. Managed 3 games, won all them 3 games there so far. Tottenham beat West Ham by 3-2. To beat Olympiacos 4-2, so in the Champions League, so they showed good determination to come back from 2-0 down, and they beat Bournemouth 3-2 at the weekend. But Tottenham, have rejuvenated themselves definitely, and I did say anyway, I think Jose Mourinho, will become a success for them. Jose Mourinho obviously, is orchestrating on making investment in that Tottenham squad, because obviously Mourinho now is obviously inheriting the vast majority of Mauricio Pochettino's players. I think he's orchestrating on getting a backup striker for Harry Kane next year. But I think Jose Mourinho can get them into the top 4. Obviously we know they're not obviously going to win the league this season. But I think definitely Tottenham have got more chance of getting the top 4 than us. But they're only sitting 2 points above us in the league at the moment. I think Tottenham are now sitting 6th. Obviously, we're sitting 10th now in the league, reflects on, the Palace result yesterday. And we've only registered 18 points from 14 league games, and we've only won 4 games in the league so far this season. So that's another explanation, why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under pressure. Mourinho, like I said, has won 25 major honours so far in his managerial career. He has got a contract with Tottenham until the end of the 2022-23 season. And like I said, he's on around £15 million a year. So he's actually now on almost double than what Mauricio Pochettino was on. He's actually on more than double than what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on at Man United. But yeah, I think he definitely will do a really, really good job. Obviously, I give you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, building them up to the game. And obviously, come out with quite a few interesting stuff. Obviously, I was talking about, the transfers and that. He's actually demanded, as Solskjaer, Ed Woodward and the board, to get transfers done quickly. Because obviously, Solskjaer is already making plans for January, but, Solskjaer, may not be here by January. I can definitely assure that, he will not be here at the end of the season, definitely. But Solskjaer did mention Jose Mourinho as well during his press conference, like I said, and I've obviously I've got the same Solskjaer's perception. I agree with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's perception basically regarding Mourinho, because Solskjaer does obviously feel as though that Mourinho will get a warm reception at Man United, from the players, the fans, and the staff, and all that. So I've got to agree with him on that aspect in that, because don't forget, Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Man United. 2.5 2.5 years at Man United and that. And I did give you the variety of reasons why his managerial tenure for him didn't work out. Because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with, a lot of the top players, especially now Paul Pogba. And the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend to the football club last summer. And he did win two trophies in his first season. The Europa League and the League Cup, and the Community Shield as well. If you do want to take that into account, but I do believe we'll give him a good reception, and you can say that's probably one of the mistakes that we did. Was getting rid of Jose Mourinho, but I think we've made a variety of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. But I think one of them was getting rid of Mourinho. Obviously, it was partly bus football under the Mourinho era. The brand of football wasn't right, but he's overall a very, very good manager. I think you could arguably say maybe we should have recommended Jose Mourinho in after the Alex Ferguson era. Then, like I've said, it may have been a different scenario with Man United. We got rid of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. Obviously, after the 3-1 defeat to Liverpool and that. But so I think Tottenham are going to win this game tonight, or if Tottenham don't win, I think it will end the draw, because I'm very sceptical of Man United getting out, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Solskjaer has also confirmed that he's considering making considering changing his formation and that. I think he's considering going with 3 at the back. And quite a few times this season, Solskjaer has gone with 3 at the back and that. He went with 3 at the back, I think, against Sheffield United. He went with 3 at the back against Liverpool. He went with 3 at the back in the first leg against Partizan Belgrade and that. And it seems to be working well, that formation. We know on a regular basis this season he's been mainly going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but we do know mainly that formation hasn't been working. But Solskjaer's been tactically naive anywhere for the vast majority of this season, so that is an element of concern. Some of his substitutions are questionable, definitely. But I've got a lot of of concerns about him. Don't get me wrong, there's some aspects of me, that do credit Solskjaer. He has got, a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. Obviously, the young players have been given their chances this season. But I think we need to obviously get rid of some young players, next year, because I don't think all of them are going to become a success. I have got element of concerns about some of them, but I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, James Garner as well will all become successes at the football club, definitely. I think Mason Greenwood also does need to start tonight due to Martial's absentee now. So I'd like him to, start. I'd like him to, start, make his first start from the start in the Premier League. Because obviously he's played in the Premier League this season, but he's not yet started a game from the start. Obviously, he has been making a substitute appearances. And I think in times to come, you can say Mason Greenwood will overcome Marcus Rashford. You could maybe say he will also, overcome Anthony Martial. Mason Greenwood has scored 4 senior goals for the football club this season. But very, very good player. And I think he's replicating now in the senior squad what he did, with the reserves last season. Brandon Williams, I think he's been very impressive, with the games he's played in. Brandon Williams, very, very good, and he deserved that new long-term contract that he got given not too long ago. He's only the age of 19, but obviously now Solskjaer views him as his first choice left back. So I think he's a better solution than Ashley Young. Should I say a much better solution than Ashley Young? He's also a better solution than Luke Shaw. But I think he'll become a successor with Brandon Williams. Luke Shaw, don't forget, he recently came back from injury because he was initially out with a hamstring injury, was Luke Shaw. You can say he was a miss. He did come on at the weekend against Villa. Surprised he didn't start from the start. He did play the full 90 minutes against FC Astana, did Luke Shaw. Which is obviously now very, very good. Tuanzebe by the way, played the full 90 minutes against FC Astana as well. So it's obviously, good to see him back. He just recently recovered from a hip injury. So like I said earlier on in the video, it is good, that players are coming back from injury and that. But anyway, so we have got to win this game tonight against Tottenham. I think we've probably got more chance of beating Tottenham than Man City, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. The game last season, obviously, Tottenham beat us at home by 3-0. Obviously, we had Jose Mourinho at the time. We did beat them at Wembley 1-0. I don't know how we won that game, especially in the second half. Tottenham had chances left, right, and centre. You could say in that particular game, David De Gea did save us. But usually, we have got a really, really good record against Tottenham. So we've basically now got to win the game this evening. Tottenham have got a few injuries themselves. I think they've got likes of Ben Davies out, Eric Lamela out. So they've got quite a few injuries themselves. But yeah. And like I said, Solskjaer is not the right man to elevate Man United forward. I'm actually, at this present time, sceptical that Ed Woodward will get rid of Solskjaer, because Ed Woodward, insists that he believes that he's still the right man for Man United. Ed Woodward is determined to stand by him for now. But if this inconsistency, does continue to persist, then I think, Ed Woodward, will end up getting rid of him. But Solskjaer for me, just doesn't have any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Man United and that. He just doesn't have the intuition, Solskjaer, and despite the fact that he knows the traditions of the football club, but he's just not good enough as a manager. Obviously before he was at Man United, he obviously wasn't Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. Obviously before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. He actually ended up getting Cardiff relegated. He managed Cardiff for around 29 or was it 30 games or something like that. Some Man United fans do fear he could actually replicate at Man United what he did do with Cardiff. But I'm sceptical that we'll get relegated. I don't see that happening. But Solskjaer basically, just doesn't have a pedigree behind him. Don't get me wrong, he was a great player for Man United, and we'll never forget, the things he has done for the football club. And he's been a great servant to the club. I admired him. Like I said, he was a great player for us. One of his most iconic moments as a player was back in 1999, of course, when he did win the club the treble. One of the club's greatest achievements. And I also praised him in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well in that 3-month period. We was back on track then. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players, and he exceeded expectations. And one of his most iconic moments as a manager was obviously that PSG game in the Champions League last season, when we did produce that miraculous comeback. We overcome a 2-goal deficit, which was fantastic. But yeah, so he did really, really well in that 3-month period. But, obviously, since he got the job permanently, everything's gone wrong. So Solskjaer has enjoyed a difficult 9 months or so as permanent manager. But in total, Solskjaer has been at the football club now almost a year. But I don't think, we will be lasting much longer. Don't forget, Solskjaer has got a 3-year contract with the football club. He has got a 3-year contract with the football club. He'd been given this 3-year contract back in March, earlier on this year, when he'd been given the job permanently. He's on around £7.5 million per year. But we do sack Solskjaer. Obviously, it's going to cost the club something, to obviously get rid of him. But Solskjaer is accountable, for our bad results and our bad performances this season. He's accountable for some of it. But obviously, he's not accountable for all of it. I think others as well, have to take the blame. I think we've also got to get rid of our board. Like I've mentioned on numerous occasions, they've been a liability for several years. I think we've also got to get rid of Ed Woodward, because I think, he also, replicates the board. And I also think, we've got to get rid of more players, despite the fact a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So there is still definitely more problematic players at the football club. So basically, we need to see a variety of changes at Manchester United. Paul Scholes also recently come out and he says, we should stick with Solskjaer. He's aware it's a long rebuilding process. It's going to, take for us, to get us back to being a competitive elite level football club and get us back, to being title contenders and, get us back up there, winning major honours. Scholes said Solskjaer needs about 3 to 4 more windows, to turn fortunes around at Man United. But it's definitely very imperative next year that we do get the right calibre players in to the football club. And obviously due to our inconsistency and with us not being in Champions League football, it's obviously going to be hard for us anyway, to attract players to the elite level. We have got a lot of players on our agenda anyway who we could go in for next year and that. But I think we need at least, 5 to 6 more signings, arguably even more. I think the club are orchestrating on spending a substantial amount next year. I think we'll probably orchestrate on spending from around £250 to £300 million recruiting new players over the course of the next couple of windows. We did obviously recommend 3 players in the summer. Obviously we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and you can say they've being our best players this season. The new signings, they've all done really, really well. I don't think they're accountable for any of our bad results and performances this season, but we spent nearly 150 million on them. So if we were to get 200 million pounds next year, I think we could get around what 3 or 4 players for that. It's basically dependent on how we are with our recruitment. Basically, that's what it's all dependent on, guys. Yeah. That's what it's all dependent on. How we are with our recruitment in that way. It's definitely got to improve in that. But like I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that our expectations this season, well, I did say at the start of this season, it would have been to finish in the top 4, definitely, so we can get into the Champions League in that. I think our aspirations are going to be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. I did expect us, not to win the league this season. I knew that wasn't going to happen, despite the 3 signings that we recommended in. We're not good enough to win the league at the moment. But like I took into account recently, Solskjaer is inheriting a pretty decent squad. We've got a lot of good players in our team. A lot of money's been invested into the football club over the years since the Alex Ferguson era. I think around is it £600-700 million that's been spent in all the managerial areas since the Ferguson era. So a lot of money's been invested into the football club. Not only that, we've got players on big contracts at the football club. You've got obviously Rashford on nearly £300,000 a week. You've got Martial on 200 grand a week, Pogba on 290 grand a week, De Gea on 375 grand a week. He's actually the highest paid at the club now, the highest paid goalkeeper also in the world. Maguire on 200 odd grand a week, Lingard on around 100 odd grand a week. So we've got players on massive contracts at the football club and that. But yeah, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club and all that. But yeah, so obviously, like I said, there's been quite a few managers on our agenda who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I did give you the news yesterday regarding Mauricio Pochettino. This was actually, this news was stemming from the Manchester Evening News, and they said that Mauricio Pochettino wants to become Manchester United's next manager, and that. Initially, though, we've been long admirers of him. But he said as well that Mauricio Pochettino wanted to, take the managerial role at Man United. Obviously, after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. Obviously, at that time, we would have had to pay something in compensation to recommend him in. I think we'd have to pay around £32 million or something like that anywhere. But I don't think now we don't. I don't think we'd have to pay out for him now. Obviously, with him being managerless. But obviously, our preference was Solskjaer over Mauricio Pochettino, even though Pochettino was our primary candidate. The couple of reasons why Solskjaer was our preference over him is because obviously Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. We didn't have to pay obviously as much out, to mould. And plus, he knows the club inside out, like obviously, Mauricio Pochettino doesn't. So they're the couple of reasons why. And obviously Solskjaer, like I said, did really, really well in that 3-month period. But, it's likely he will be our next manager, Pochettino. But he isn't only linked to with the Man United job. There's, quite a few clubs attracting their interest in Pochettino. Obviously, he said the other week he was holding negotiations with Bayern Munich. Also, Arsenal have been in for him. I'm very sceptical about him going to Arsenal. Recently Pochettino was advised by his friends to not take the Arsenal job. But he does want an immediate return to management. He has definitely confirmed that as Pochettino. But I don't think, he will be managerless for long. I think also Real Madrid have been in there for him. Real Madrid were in for him before when obviously, Zinedine Zidane, do you remember when he resigned as Real Madrid manager, was managerless for around 9 months, then obviously, went back into the Real Madrid job. At one point, I think, we was also in for Zinedine Zidane. But I think a lot of Man United fans, or all the Man United fans, should I say, including me, believe Mauricio Pochettino would be the right candidate, for Man United. His philosophy is really, really good. He's good at developing young players, and he's proven this, during his 5-year tenure with Tottenham. I thought he enjoyed a great 5 years with Tottenham and that. The only element of concern I've got about Mauricio Pochettino that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. So that's really my only element of concern. But you've got to admire him for what he did at Tottenham, because it was superb what he did at Tottenham. He progressed them to their first ever Champions League final last season. Got a couple of third place finishes with them, got runners up with them in 2017, progressed them to the League Cup final in his first full season. So you've got to admire, what he had done. And he's well experienced in the Premier League anywhere. And he's totally comparison to Solskjaer. He's a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, let's be honest. Tottenham, by the way, did sack him when he was under contract with them, because he signed a 5-year contract, I think, with them in the summer of 2018, worth around £8.5 million a year. But he's only managed 3 clubs at the moment, Pochettino. But there again, he's only been managing for just over a decade. The 3 clubs he's managed is Tottenham, recent club he managed, before that Southampton. He enjoyed a short tenure with Southampton, and before that, of course, Espanyol. But yeah, it's very, very imminent he's going to be Man United's next manager. I think, he probably, will be our manager by Christmas. If not Christmas, by the new year, definitely. Unless, we're willing to stick, with Solskjaer, see obviously who we can bring in January. But we're not going to get anywhere with Solskjaer and that. Obviously other managers have been spoken about. There's still a lot of narratives in the mainstream media going on regarding Massimiliano Allegri. Obviously he's one of the managers as well that's been on Arsenal's agenda. Don't forget, at one point Massimiliano Allegri was our primary candidate. Don't forget. I think this was obviously before the Liverpool game. It did reveal out that Massimiliano Allegri had held negotiations with Man United. Regarding that, what salary he would earn if he was to come in. He did show a few things at that time, if he was to come to Man United. I'm sceptical about him coming in now, because I think it's obviously more imminent that Pochettino is going to come in over Massimiliano Allegri. He still did quote out recently, though, Massimiliano Allegri, that he's still interested in replacing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United. But Massimiliano Allegri, has never managed in the Premier League like Pochettino, so in that aspect, his comparison to Pochettino. But my preference would be Pochettino over him. Massimiliano Allegri, of course, has spent the entirety of his managerial career in the Serie A. Like I said, he's emulated himself up over the years because he started managing small various Italian clubs. Recent Italian club he managed was Juventus. He did resign as Juventus manager at the end of last season. He won the vast majority of his silverware with Juventus, including 5 Serie A's, progressed Juventus to 2 Champions League finals and that. But I think what could happen is I think Pochettino will come to Man United. Maybe Massimiliano Allegri will go to Arsenal. I think he's been linked with a few other clubs as Massimiliano Allegri. But like I said, anyway, managers are getting sacked left, right, and centre. Watford recently sacked their manager Sanchez Flores after less than 3 months in charge, and then you got obviously. You got Pochettino getting sacked from Tottenham last month. Emre getting sacked from Arsenal last week. Obviously, as you all know, Arsenal looking for the permanent manager now, but they recommended Freddie Ljungberg in not too long ago on a temporary basis and that. And all that. But yeah, so these being quite a few managers on our agenda, but it's definitely going to be Pochettino. We don't want to keep sacking managers anyway because we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. 3 managers have already gone since the Ferguson era. Moyes left after 10 months. He had the shortest tenure with a football club and that. Did David Moyes. Shortest tenure with the football club. Van Gaal got sacked after just a year, despite the fact he won the FA Cup, and Mourinho got sacked after just 2.5 years and that. But yeah, we don't want to persistently keep sacking managers, but with the position we're in, we've really got no choice. But yeah, we need to see now a change of management, definitely. And we need to get a manager in basically, who's got the right philosophy for this club. We need to get a manager in who obviously can bring the right caliber players in, someone who's obviously got a good pedigree behind them. But we'll see what happens. But it doesn't matter who we get in anywhere. We'll never be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson and that. Solskjaer definitely can't invoke Ferguson's legacy to save him at the club. Or any other manager. Can't invoke Ferguson's legacy. And all that. So I just wanted to take that into account. So the main part of this video was to give you the news regarding Anthony Martial. He's currently injured. I don't know how severe the injury is. Maybe he should be okay for the Man City game at the weekend. I'm not too sure. But he's definitely not playing this evening. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, like, support on the channel. If you do consider, subscribe as always. And I will be back with my match reaction tomorrow morning. Or it will be tomorrow afternoon. But more imminent, it will be tomorrow morning. But I won't be doing it this evening, so it definitely will be tomorrow my match reaction for the game. So drop your comments, like, support on the channel, like I said. Subscribe as always. Take care, God bless. See you all again very, very soon.